God Shattering Star is one of the most beloved final boss soundtracks in a video game, and I think there's good reason for it. Now, I've been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I played the Cloud route, so I heard this track as well, but I was too focused while playing the game, and I didn't really listen to it that much, so it escaped me. But thanks to some of you amazing patrons, this track came up, and I thought of analyzing it, so I'm gonna give you my opinion of it as a music producer. Freaking huge, like that introduction is like, I cannot think of a better introduction for a final boss track. Those huge chords and that incredible vocal that sounds like Latin makes you feel like, oh shit, fate is knocking at our doorstep right now, which is the same emotion that Beethoven thought of representing when writing the famous riff on the Fifth Symphony. Da, 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 da. That was the sound of fate knocking at the door. But the composers here pulled a near automata on us, because this is not Latin. This is invented language called Lanese, which to me sounds kind of like, I don't know, broken Italian. Now, the cool part about this intro is that there's a beautiful correspondence between the chords and the vocal. So they never play together, rather one plays and the other replies, and then the one plays and the other replies. Those chords sound so freaking huge because they're made of so many instruments. We have strings, choir, brass, guitars, organ, and then some timpani accompanying everything that makes everything sound so thunderous. Anyway, this is the most epic introduction ever, but the part that comes after, it delivers. Yeah. Freaking love it. The way the whole orchestra shuts down, leaving the space for this vocal to soar. It's like we just lit it, and then we come down and we have that incredible cascade of notes on our strings that probably you will not notice because when you listen to this, maybe you only pay attention to the vocals, which are amazing. But really, if you check out the strings, they do something like this. Like I mentioned in the Ludwig the Holy Blade analysis I made some time ago, when you have these cascading notes that kind of play all over the place, it feels like a sense of vertigo. So this passage makes me feel like we just leaped, and then when we're falling down, like, it's so amazing. And also the chord progression in the second half here. This track changes keys so many freaking times, like in Nier Automata, and it kind of reminds me of A Beautiful Song, which was another opera song. I believe that probably opera music has this thing, like change of keys that are very consistent. Oh my god! Oh my god, man, what the hell? When he sings that, there's nothing going on except for those, beautiful chords on the piano, and then as the orchestra kicks back in, it sounds so huge. That's because basically when he kicks back in, he has this huge bass line. Like double basses, tubas, or he uses all sorts of instruments to like make this part so freaking fat, like lasagna with so much mozzarella on it. I love what they did here. So we have essentially peaked with the choir, right? With the vocal. And now what the orchestra is doing is like, let me take over for you. And then the strings are the main element now. It's so beautiful. Man, chills. I'm getting freaking goosebumps. Damn. This is probably my favorite part in the whole song, probably. Because of the same reason. So what we have is probably like some very interesting chord progressions, but essentially the first half of nada ba da ba 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 is playing and it sounds like you're flying high because there's no bass holding you down. Check it out. And then the second half kind of replies to that with loads of low end, like. So like lack of bass makes you like soar, and when you add all that bass, which in this case is like tubas, double bass, sub bass, and cellos and stuff like that, it drags you down. So it's like this beautiful movement, like soaring and falling down. It's so cool. Like, sounds like Final Fantasy X right there. I don't know. I think that passage is so freaking genius. I love it. It's I love that chord progression. I love that freaking bass that suddenly disappears and then comes back again. It's like I feel like I'm flying. It's so cool. And then, oh man, like this is so Jesus. There's just so many things happening all the time on this song, and like the vocal can even be its own song. It's so cool, like the way this guy is singing. What the hell? What is going on? Oh my god. This is like hype.mp3. What the hell? Oh my god. There's the vocal like that kind of feels so desperate and tragic. And I love that at the half of this passage goes, for a man to sing like that is so hard and it's so high and you feel that. And essentially what's happening is that the whole track now wants to uplift the tension, the drama to the max, to the peak. And in fact, the way that's like Jesus! But okay, we're all here paying attention to the vocal, but actually, there's so many things happening in the orchestra too. There's a bass line that does something like this. This bass line is playing sort of like a chromatic scale. A chromatic scale is like playing kind of all the notes in the keyboard, right? Essentially, it's very particular. It's as if this painter that only used like red and blue and purple now is like, oh, I'm gonna use all color because fuck you, I can use all colors. And it's like super cool. And then on top of that bass line, we have this piano doing it. So cool, oh my god. This shit is worthy of classical music. I haven't heard a chromatic bass line in such a long time, I think. It's so rare. This is probably why it sounds like opera. And then the second half goes even higher. And the reason why the second half sounds so much more intense is because we had a key change. So essentially, we skipped, I think, 2 semitones, and now everything sounds more intense because that's what happens when you reach like a higher semitones on your keyboard, like here. It reached such high notes, so you're like, oh my god, the pain! The freaking pain! I love this part so freaking much. Damn, I didn't have the courage to transcribe this and really analyze what's going on, but essentially this is the orchestral equivalent of a guitar solo. Once again, what happened is that the vocal right now really reached the peak. Like, get a man to sing like that, it cannot sing anymore. That is so freaking high. So what he's doing is he's holding that note, which is like the peak anguish, peak crisis, peak sadness and sorrow. And as he holds that note, he cannot go any further. So he lets the orchestra take over. And then you have this brass like da 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 ba ba da ba da. But again, underneath the main melody is where the juice of the track is. Like if you check out the alternative Thunder version of this track, you're gonna notice the strings. I love this part so much. This is the metal part of the track. There's no guitars going on, but if you take this and transition into a guitar arrangement, this part is gonna sound metal AF. In fact, Family Jewels just did that last week, where he made a cover of Ghost Shattering Star, featuring none other than Claude's voice actor as a singer. So go check that out and realize how freaking metal this is. This track is such an emotional roller coaster. Totally escaped me in the game because I was too focused on finishing the game. It dragged on for too long and I was like, please let me end this game now. Sadly, I missed the track, like I didn't really pay attention to it, but thanks to you guys, I really took some time to listen to it and figure out why it's cool, and I have to say,